So today you will be learning the first part of lesson 5.3 on slope-intercept form. Okay, in this video we are going to focusing just on writing these types of equations. Okay, the next half of the lesson will be on how to graph them. Okay, we have quite a bit of vocabulary to start off. Okay, a family of functions. Remember, a function is a relationship in which each input has exactly one output. Just like that direct variation relationship, this is another type of specific linear function. Okay? But a family of functions is a group of functions with common characteristics. A common slope, most of the time, is what we're referring to. Okay? A parent function is the simplest function with these characteristics. Okay? And what that looks like is y equals x. Okay? That's the most basic type of linear function there is, making it the parent function. Okay? There's no actual numbers in it besides the coefficient of 1 and the coefficient on both the y and on the x, which makes it the most basic function there is. Okay? So this is called a parent function. Is the linear parent function. So y equals x, or in function notation, remember, this one just has the f of x symbol instead of the y. F of x equals x. Okay. Linear equation is an equation that models a linear function, which means these graphs are going to be a straight line. Linear equation, the variable cannot be raised to any power but 1. Okay, that x cannot have an exponent on it, or you're not going to have a linear function. So some examples are y equals 2x. This is one of those direct variation ones you learned about in lesson 5.2. Okay, this other one is the type one we're working on today. Y equals 1/2 x minus 4. This x, you see, doesn't have a different exponent, so the exponent there is 1, making it linear. And this is an example of slope-intercept form that we're going to learn about right now. Okay? So slope-intercept form, okay, is a linear equation of a non-vertical line written as y equals mx plus b, okay, where the m is always representing your slope. Okay? M is always the slope. And it's that coefficient of your x term. Right? And b is always representing your y-intercept. Okay? Which is something you might have heard of before, but it's what the new part is when you compare this relationship to direct variation. Okay? So y-intercept. Next vocabulary word. Okay? In an ordered pair, okay, what it looks like is 0 and a number. Because when that happens, and your ordered pair is 0 something, if you think about coordinate plane, where 0 is for x is on your y-axis. And if you read through that definition, the definition of a y-intercept is the y-coordinate of the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So it can be anywhere on that vertical axis. Okay, your y-intercept is 0 and then a number. Okay, that's what it's representing in that equation. In slope-intercept form, as we just said, okay, y equals 4x plus 6 is an example. This 4 is your slope in this equation because it's that coefficient of x. It's representing that m. Okay, and this plus 6, okay, this part right here goes together. Whatever the symbol is tells you what your y-intercept is. Okay, so that's our y-intercept is a positive 6, which in the equation form is the letter b. Y equals mx plus b is slope-intercept form. form, the only things you need are m and b. So I have an example here. What is an equation of a line with a slope of 3 over 2 and a y-intercept of negative 1? Okay, remember, slope is that letter m, which is 3 over 2, which we do not want to simplify because it only simplifies to 1.5 or 1.5. Remember, slope cannot be a decimal or a mixed number. Okay, and our y-intercept, which is our b, is negative 1. Okay, when you sub into this form, okay, if b is negative, remember you only ever want single signs. So when I sub this in, y equals m, which is 3 over 2, x plus b, but that b is a negative 1, okay? And whenever we're writing an equation, we never ever want to leave it as double signs, right? So when you write these, if you have double signs in your problem, you need to simplify them to be y equals 3 over 2 x minus 1. Okay, and that's why I boxed this plus 6 up here. Whatever this sign is, even though the formula says plus b, it can really be plus or minus. Okay, because that y-intercept can be above this x-axis or below this x-axis. So depending on what type of number that is, depends on your sign of b. Okay, so always have single signs when you're writing your equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, so these. Okay, slope is negative 3, y-intercept is 7, so they're giving me m, and they're giving me b. All you have to do is substitute. So y equals m, which is negative 3, x plus b, which is 7 is positive, so it's plus 7. The next one, slope is 2/3, y-intercept negative 2. Again, they're giving me everything I need. M is 2 over 3, b is negative 2. So y equals m, which is 2/3, x plus b, but it's plus a negative, so it's really minus 2. And there's writing your equations in slope-intercept form. Okay? See how it's super easy when they give you these two things. The next few, you're going to have to identify what those amounts are. Okay? So when they give you a graph, okay, they're still giving you all the information you need. You just need to identify that y-intercept and find your slope. Okay? So remember, a y-intercept, a point on your y-axis, which for us is right here. So it's up 1, 2. You order pair 0, 2. So my y-intercept, my b, is 2. Then I need to find my slope, and you can find slope any way you want. But remember, on a graph, as long as it's going by 1, it's easiest to use rise over run. So you need 2 points on that line. So we have 1. I'm going to put another one right here. So to find my slope, I'm starting to point at the left. My rise is negative 2. Negative because I had to go down. My run is 2. We never want to leave slope unsimplified, and a negative 2 divided by positive 2 is a negative 1. So my m equals negative 1. And now I have everything those last problems gave me. So I have y equals m, which is negative 1, x plus 2, because b is 2. However, there's still one thing wrong with the equation. Remember, when you write equations, you want them in simplest form. Okay, so if we have a coefficient of 1 or negative 1, we actually don't want to write down that 1. Okay, so what we should write instead is y equals negative x plus 2. They mean that same thing, so they're equivalent equations, but this one is our final answer because it's in the simplified form. Are those, right? This one, they gave me my graphs or my points to find my slope on my graph, and they gave me the order pair named for my b. So to find m, rise over run, point on the left. I'm going to change colors here so it's easier to see. Okay, point on the left, we're going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So my rise is -6. My run, 1, 2, 3. Remember, to find slope, you always should start at the point on the left, so you know if that rise is positive or negative. You know if your slope is positive or negative. We have to simplify that. -6 divided by 3 simplifies to a -2. Okay. Number B is the point on the y-axis, which is this one right here. So my B term is 2. Write that equation. Y equals m, which in our case is -2x, plus b. B is positive, so it's plus 2. And there's my equation. Okay. The next one, again, starting at that point on the left, I need to find b. Okay. To find slope, we're looking for m, so from the left, going up 1, 2, 3, so that rise, +3. My run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this time our slope doesn't simplify because we don't want a decimal, so we're going to leave it as 3/5. Okay? And my b, the point on the y-intercept, this one right here, 0 in that number, which is -6. And now I'm ready to write my equation. Okay, so we have y equals m, which is 3/5, x, plus b, but this time b is negative, so it's -6. And there's my slope-intercept form equation from a graph. Complicated yet is when they don't give you your slope or a graph to find it. The only difference is then we need to find our slope using y minus y over x minus x. And when they give you two ordered pairs, one of them has to be, or is nicest when it is, it doesn't have to be, and we'll do those next, but it is always nice if they give you your y-intercept, okay? So you always want to see if they gave that to you, and remember that looks like 0 and a number. Okay, so now they're not giving us that picture, they're giving us ordered pairs. Okay? We still need to find m, which is our slope, still need to find b, and then we're ready to substitute. First thing I need to find, or for these problems, is my slope, which is y minus y over x minus x. Remember, the ordered pairs are x and y, x and y. Okay? So if I start that first order pair, my y is 1, x is -3. Slope's always subtraction. Second order pair, y is -8, x is 0. 1 minus a -8 is really 1 plus 8. This becomes plus, which gives me a 9. And -3 minus 0 is -3, which simplifies to a slope of -3. Okay, now like I said, we need to find b, second all the other ones. But this one doesn't take any work. You just need to look at your ordered pairs. Remember, your b is in the ordered pair where x is 0. Okay, so that makes this -8 our b, our y-intercept. And now I'm ready to write that equation. Y equals m, -3, x plus b, which b is a -8, so it's -8. The next one, again, have to find our slope. So m equals, first order pair, -5 for y, 0 for x, minus is always that formula, -7 for y, 2 for x. Okay, so -5 minus a -7 really is, again, a plus or an addition problem. Okay, so it's -5 plus 7, which gives me a top number of 2, and 0 minus 2 is -2, giving me that slope of -1. Okay. Again, we're looking for the ordered pair that has a 0 for x, which is in this case is our first one. So my y-intercept, my b, is negative 5. And I'm ready to write my equation. Y equals m, which is negative 1, and again, if it's a 1, we just use that negative sign, so negative x plus b, which is again a negative, so it's minus 5. Type we need to go through, and these are the ones that are the hardest because you're writing equations in slope-intercept form when they don't give you the y-intercept, okay? So the first thing we need to do is still find our slope, okay? We need to find our m, okay? Then we have to substitute one of the ordered pairs for x and for y and solve for b. So we need to find m and we need to find b, just like before. But now there's some work for b, and if you think back to when we wrote rules for functions, you've actually done this before. Okay, so this is review. It's just the hardest part of writing equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, and then when we're done, we're going to write our equations in y equals mx plus b, and you need to remember that y and x are now still in the equation. They're no longer the ordered pair we substituted. We just use those to find our y-intercept. Okay? And again, remember this can be plus or minus b. It doesn't have to just be plus. So write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents a line passing through the points 3, negative 2, and 1, negative 3. My first step, just like in all the other ones, is to find my slope. Use y minus y over x minus x. First order pair, y is negative 2, x is 3, formula of subtraction. Second order pair, y is negative 3, x is 1. Okay, and for this problem, I again have that minus a negative, which is really an addition problem. Okay, so negative 2 plus 3 is 1, and 3 minus 1 is 2, which gives me a slope of 1/2. Which doesn't simplify, so we're just going to leave it as it is. Right? Then I need to find b. Like I said, these ones take a little bit more work because when I look at these ordered pairs, neither one of them has a 0 for that x coordinate. So I need to find b by choosing one of my ordered pairs to work with. Okay? By working with this one, and we're going to use this 3 for x and this negative 2 for y. So we have y equals mx plus b. That's our formula. Okay? But I don't know b, so I have to find it, which means I need to substitute for everything else because I can only solve a problem, an equation, for one variable. So from this ordered pair, my y coordinate is negative 2. My slope we found to be 1/2, and the x from my ordered pair, because we know this is the solution because that line goes through it, is 3 plus b. First step's going to be to multiply, so I have negative 2 equals 1/2 plus b. To get b by itself, I need to get rid of 1/2, which means I subtract 1/2 on both sides. On the right side, and an answer of negative 3 and 1/2. And you can write this as negative 3.5, that's just fine. Okay, just remember when you write your equations for slope, the slope has to be a fraction. Your y-intercept can be either. Okay, so our y-intercept is going to be negative 3.5, and I am ready to write my equation. Y equals mx plus b. Y has to be in that equation. M is 1/2. X has to be in the equation. And b is negative 3.5, so minus 3 and 1/2. And there's my equation, given those two ordered pairs. Let's try one more like that. Okay, so write an equation of a line that passes through 2, negative 3, and negative 2, 1. So I need to find m, and I again need to find b. M, y minus y over x minus x. First order pair, negative 3 is y, 2 is x. formula subtraction, second order pair, y is 1, x is negative 2. So negative 3 minus a negative 1 gives me a negative 4 on the top. On the bottom, I have that double negative, so it's really an addition problem. So 2 plus 2 is 4, and this time this simplifies to a slope of negative 1. Okay. When I again now have to find b, so I'm going to first check my ordered pairs, okay, which neither one of them again have a 0 for x, so I have to go through the work and find them. Okay. Doesn't matter which order pair you pick. Last time I chose the first one, so this time I'll choose the second one. This will work for either ordered pair. Okay? So y equals mx plus b. We're going to substitute into that formula and find b. And you don't have to write this part down in your work. I'm just doing it for demonstration. Okay? The ordered pair I picked, the y is 1, m is negative 1, x for my ordered pair is negative 2, plus b is what we're trying to find. Okay? So to solve for b, 1 is still just by itself on the left. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2, plus b. To get that b by itself, I'm going to subtract 2 whenever I do on one side, I do the other, giving me b equals negative 1. And now I have everything I need to write my equation. Right? So y equals mx plus b, y has to be in there. The m is a negative 1. When I write that final equation, since it's a 1, it's really just negative x. b is minus 1 or negative 1. So in my equation, it's minus 1. Okay? And there's writing equations in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b.